boys.
It's the BOYSCAST.
The lads.
It's the BOYSCAST.
The dudes.
Prepare yourself for BOYSCAST.
The bros.
It's the BOYSCAST.
The homies.
It's the BOYSCASt.
The dudes.
Experience the BOYSCAST.
The BOYSCAST.
One of the best things that I saw this week was, do you know how Nikki Haley did that debate?
Yeah.
And said that if people go on TikTok, they get 17% more anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
CNN debunked that. They wrote an article being like, actually, that's not true.
What did they say? It makes you even more anti-Semitic?
They go, 17 is actually very low. No, they said Nikki Haley's claims were false, and they went through what she was referring to was some study that was based on something, and it was actually false, and it wasn't run good, and it was like,
I mean,
so it doesn't make you 17% more anti-Semitic every minute that you do.
I mean, that's literally the easiest claim to falsify, because just go. It said it was 17% for every half an hour, which means compounded your anti-Semitism doubles every 2 hours. So just go watch TikTok for like 20 hours. If you're not just like fucking Osama bin Laden or Hitler by the end of it, then it's not true.
Exactly. But so just quickly on the topic of the Harvard University professors.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite part is that her last name is Gay.
Yep. But she's not gay.
Every article is just like, and Gay, he said. She's like,
I mean, if you think they're gonna fire a black gay woman.
There's a lot of things that she's getting hit with. Harvard covered up a secret plagiarism probe into President Gay.
Yep.
President Gay.
Yeah.
Does that bother you that she's stealing your fucking name?
President Gay? No. Prime Minister Gay.
During the anti-Semitism storm, and she threatened the Post. But anyways.
Yeah. No, yeah, that plagiarism thing. So it's funny, like all this stuff really, because there are a lot of the people still who are like, Twitter's not real life, but like all this stuff starts on Twitter. Like it was all started from Bill Ackman basically making a stink.
Bill Ackman's been going hard.
He's been going hard, yeah. Wild Bill.
Wild Bill's been saying that it's like they're all DEI hires and everything.
Yeah. I mean, which I don't know. It's possible. It's possible she was a diversity hire.
Well, people have been looking into it.
Walks like a duck.
Not even this girl. It's just all of them. They've been looking into it and be like, this girl's done nothing. How do you get to be the president?
Yeah. Well, yeah, she was. I don't know. Yeah, it is funny that it's all chicks, though. That's the part I like the most.
Elon Musk fans desperate to see that their Grok AI has been. Some people aren't happy because Grok is a little bit woke.
Oh, Grok's too woke?
Well, they're asking Grok. It is a tough one. I would assume making AI, because the real answer is if you're trying to make something that's like a tool to help you for things, right?
Yeah.
Like
Grok is kind of unique though because it uses real-time data.
I guess this is, but what they're saying is stuff like, is a trans woman a woman?
Yeah.
And Grok is saying yes or whatever. So it's like those are. In America, you're like half the people would say this, half the people would say the other thing, right? Mm-hmm. And the liberal ones, or the normal ones, whatever, like the average ones, would all just be like, yes, that's a woman.
Yeah.
So that if Grok wants to be the option is the other one's like Grok becomes like it's the conservative one,
yeah,
and has all the conservative answers. But what would you do if you're just like, hey, we're like, what would you say? Hey, I don't want to get involved in that. Like, what is Grok? What should it do? I don't know.
I guess the problem is that that's not something that everybody agrees on. Is a.
But I guess if it's supposed to be, but if it's supposed to be true, then it shouldn't matter what people agree on. That's, I guess, the idea, right?
I guess
like if you go 1 + 1's 2, you wouldn't. If you go what's 1 + 1, you wouldn't go, well, some people have said 3, right?
Yeah.
Like you would just say it's 2. So the argument is, well, if this is just like a fact, but people can't agree on facts.
Yeah, we can't agree on a fact. I mean, at least you can test 1 + 1.
So it really is impossible to just have one that everyone agrees with. You get back to the same problem as everything else. You have, here's your liberal one and here's your conservative one.
Yeah, I think we need to get rid of gender. That's my new thing. I don't believe in gender.
What do you think? What's your theory? I'm listening.
I don't believe in gender. It's sex. I just believe in sex.
Oh, you say gender in general.
I just don't believe in gender.
Yeah, you go. Everyone.
There's male. There's female. There's some sort of version in between. If you're like intersex, there's transsexuals, certainly. So you still make room for all of them. I just don't believe in gender.
And gender is the part where they're trying to separate it.
Yeah, gender's where we ran into all these problems. with everything is from gender.
When they said it's not attached in,
yeah, when they go, these are separate things, even though, like, you know,
you go, I don't believe it.
Your sex and your gender are literally linked like 99.
Well, I don't know if you're joking. That actually sort of makes sense.
I'm not joking. I'm not joking. I'm saying it in a humorous tone, due to the nature of this being a comedy podcast. But no, I'm not. I'm not joking. No, I don't believe in gender anymore.
I like it.
That's this is my most like
that would be if Grok wanted to be really based. He was like, this whole gender shit's bullshit.
Bullshit, yeah.
And you go, hey, Grok, what gender is this? You go, gender's a fake thing made up by college fucking professors.
Yeah, exactly. We just have to remove the term. Period. I don't believe in it.
Well, it's not-
and when anybody ever says now, they're like, oh, gender, blah blah. I go, I don't believe in gender.
Have you ever had that conversation yet, or you wish a motherfucker would?
I wish a motherfucker would.
You've had it in the
I've
queue?
only come over to the dark side in the last couple of weeks.
You had that in the queue.
I don't know where I was, but I was thinking about something, and I go, this gender stuff's nonsense. Just period.
It's just period. I'm a sex guy.
I'm a sex man.
I'm a sex man.
I believe in sex. That's it.
Well, sex isn't the only problem either, because it goes deeper than that, Danny.
Yeah.
Because this is kind of the other thing that got me thinking about America. Actually, when I was thinking about this, like, just because everyone gets sued nonstop.
Yeah.
It's like, you know how if America was like Canada with healthcare, can you imagine how many lawsuits the Canadian government would be like paying out? You know what I mean?
Insane. Nonstop. Yeah.
Yeah, but Meathead Movers is fucking incredible. But this is Meathead Movers sued over age discrimination after touting student athlete workers. So it's basically a company that started and they go, we're going to
Hooters. It's like Hooters, basically.
It's like what?
It's like a Hooters type deal where they go, Hooters, it's all chicks, huge racks, very specific thing.
That I don't sexualize male student athletes the same way you are. When I was thinking of it more of, if you remember where kind of where we lived, there was college pro painters, and they hired college kids to be painters.
Exactly. Yeah.
And a couple of my friends worked at college pro painters, and they said it was.
I had a bunch of my friends work there.
They said it was. They both quit after 2 days. They go, I worked at college pro painters for a 1 day.
Yeah.
Jarek did it, and Owen.
Yeah.
And then basically they go, it was like 3 hours in, and they're standing on, basically like standing on a windowsill.
Yeah.
Painting.
Super dangerous.
Yeah, you're just like, you basically have to have your feet like ducked out because you can't.
Yeah.
He goes, well, I was like basically standing on a windowsill trying to paint a house. And then I was like, after 2 minutes of this, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this for an entire summer.
I had two of my buddies actually from Guelph who were like had big college pro painter like businesses.
College pro painters
ran these.
All it was that's the thing. You can move your way up, and then you're running your own college painter career, right?
Yeah.
And basically, it's college kids the painter, and the argument that my friends are a little lazier than yours in that regard.
Yeah.
But my friends were all just like that did it. Just basically said like, I almost died in the first hour of working there.
For sure. You got to be going up on a ladder and stuff, and
yeah, and these are more our elk. These are our more of our elk, where those hands are the silky smooth comedy fingers weren't meant for that kind of manual labor.
This isn't the Patreon episode. Not the YouTube episode.
These are like guys in these are guys in the band and stuff like that.
People on YouTube would like elk.
Why?
It's ilk. Yeah. But it's behind.
I got killed the other day.
No, the clock. I remember that too. I remember that happening. I go like, I've like become so desensitized to correcting you, where I just am like, I don't even.
I got fucking annihilated.
That was like honestly, that was like a Bidenism. The way you said that, you're like, a broken clock. It's like, right. A broken clock's right sometimes. It was like a George Bushism.
That guy said once in a while.
Once in a while. Broken clock's right once in a while.
People weren't happy with that one.
I was loving it.
I was fucking feeling the burn on that puppy. So it's ilk, not elk?
Ilk.
What's an elk?
That's like a fucking animal.
I think I just never learned to speak properly.
Yeah, ilk.
Okay, well, it feels like
a type of people or things similar to those already referred to. ILK.
Yeah, I definitely.
So Scottish.
I thought it was elk for sure.
Elk.
Scottish is not my people.
It's close enough.
Close enough. Well, these movers are getting sued, and they lost the lawsuit.
That's crazy for that they lost and so you just get shaken down.
But it's
This
not
country's
just
all
for
about just getting
girls,
shaken down.
because the other one have dudes. Obviously, if you're hiring movers, but it's an age thing. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. You know these guys are fucking bad news.
Yeah.
The EEOC. You do not want the EEOC knocking on your
down
door.
with me.
Yeah. You definitely you down with the OECC? No.
No, I'm not.
You down with the OCC? Nah, you know me.
Nah.
And it's I wouldn't be.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. I don't want to get sued.
Nah, I wouldn't be. You know me. That's not my cup of tea.
Yep. No.
High tea. I started taking my high tea pills, by the way. Tonga Ali. JJ and Che both said they were taking them, and JJ said he's fucking liking it. He got a little specific. He said he's been waking up with boners for the first time in fucking 100 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I got no problem with that. I actually had my blood work done. I got my
also, he put pictures of dudes' asses on his fucking roof, so I don't know if it's related.
Yeah, I actually had my blood work done. My tea's pretty high.
What? Yeah. I'm not even saying this as a to discriminate against you or to
just
to dispel you.
Yeah.
I just would have
It's not like
you're
through the
biggest,
roof. Not
you
through
have
the
a
roof
little
or
bit of a
anything.
sluggish vibe. That's all I'm saying.
I've always been, but no, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
a little bit. Oh, hey, Danny's here.
Yeah. Hey, Danny's here.
You just don't have that much of like a what I
save it because I save it all for the bedroom.
You save every last bit of strength.
It's like I'm like a fucking runner, you know. You got to fucking save it for the sprint.
That does surprise me a little bit that your
I was actually
normal.
I thought my T would be low.
So you have a high T.
Not high, but it's above average.
What the fuck? Were you looking at the girls' chart, maybe?
No, it wasn't. I just got my blood work done.
I've never done mine, but I'm just trying to get more energy. And Che and JJ both were bigging it up.
All right. I mean, I could always use
JJ, legitimately, JJ.
But JJ's Bob Sacramento. He has a new thing every fucking week. I'm like, oh, you got to try this fucking tiger peanut.
There isn't a
crush it up and you snort it.
There is not a single one of Huberman's supplements JJ hasn't bought the fucking mother load up. He's always so broke.
Yeah, he's always so broke because he's spending all
But
his money.
JJ's always so broke. You're like, maybe stop taking $175 for the supplements every morning.
He takes tons of supplements.
Dude, have you ever been on the road with him? He has a fucking
he's got a giant bag.
He has a giant Ziploc bag of stuff he takes every single morning.
Yeah, so lots of pills and vitamins.
His conversion pills to keep him straight.
Yeah.
No, the testosterone might make him gayer, I think. I think he got less gay in his old age because his T was a little lower, right?
Oh, that's possible.
And the T was making him like a fucking maniac.
Degenerate maniac, yeah. Yeah, I'm curious. It would be, I guess none of you guys have done your blood work because I'm actually curious like how many kind of...
I came up crip.
Yeah, I'm curious how many like points it kind of, or like free testosterone increases or anything.
What if the Tongali works?
Yeah, like I'm sure it works. I'm just curious by how much.
They're both giving glowing recommendations. You are right. JJ's recommendations
Placebo
worth
effect,
fucking.
though.
It's not worth its weight on paper.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, placebo effect is a real thing, though.
yeah.
Which, whatever. If placebo effect is real in the sense that if you take it and you feel it, then who cares? You know.
I care a little bit.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'm more from just scientific
If
perspective.
it's fake, I don't like that.
Just go get your blood work done right before you start taking
I want to, but I don't. Again, I have enough things. I still have to do my knee thing. I don't have time to go do a.
Blood work's quick. You just make an appointment. You can probably do it around here.
I don't do as many things as you. You're always running around, zipping around doing errands.
I'm not zipping around during.
He is. He's always zipping around doing stuff. He's got a guy for everything.
I don't have a guy for.
Oh, your elbow hurts. I actually had my elbow guy yesterday.
Dude, I haven't been to the elbow guy in 2 years.
You're like a Seinfeld character. You're always zipping around doing things.
The opposite.
The opposite of zipping around. Well, you zipped over to the blood work clinic. Why'd you do that?
Because I want to get my blood work. But I always
But why?
Because I mean,
I told you he's zipping around. He doesn't have a good excuse.
I just wanted to know what my
The definition of zipping around.
My health is at.
There was no reason specifically.
There is a
for you
reason.
to do
I'm
it.
40 years old. You gotta fucking check that shit out. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess if you've never done it in a while, maybe.
Yeah,
that
well, I actually had done it in a couple of years, but I'll tell you the main reason. So I was talking to those guys from Merrick Health, and then about sponsoring the podcast. And then the guy's like, "Hey, why don't?" He's like, "We're done our sponsorships for like whatever the year," but he's like, "Why don't you just do our thing?" He's like, "Why don't you just
for free?"
No, but he's like, they gave me like a like a.
Well, this is starting to make a little more sense now that now it's.
But it wasn't like
the pieces of the puzzle are starting to come together.
No, but it wasn't like anything.
Out of the blue, he just decided to zip over there and get his blood work done. Now we find out that he got a deal.
No, like if you went and just did your blood work yourself and read your blood results, it'd still be way cheaper. Like it's their know-how, and then they're gonna like design me some sort of like thing of supplements or whatever.
Okay,
that's where I told you where they're like they want me to microdose.
Do you think that
Cialis.
do you think they were trying to big you up a little bit? Where they're like, oh, look at you with that high tea. Oh, look at Mr. High Tea. Oh,
please,
high
sir.
tea alert.
Should I call you sir with this level of tea?
High tea alert, ladies and gentlemen.
They're the ones who
they
told me
butter you up and then they hit you with honesty. It would normally be $3,000 a month, but a high tea man such as yourself probably get you done for $1,000
I mean, you
a month.
got so much money with all that tea, anyways. What do you care?
They're buttering you up, but there's fucking.
But they're the ones who told
works.
me about the microdosing Cialis.
What do they say to do?
The guy, this dude Ian, who I worked with, he's straight up like he thinks microdosing Cialis will be in the future like how people take aspirin. Like
really,
everybody will do it.
I'll do that.
Everybody will do it. You take it like every. I think he was saying either every day or every other day.
Sometimes I microdose Cialis if I'm about to party.
Yeah, like a quarter. But he's saying because it's for blood flow, and then he seems to think like they're going to eventually figure out that it's just good for men and women to just take it for just blood flow because a lot of illnesses come from like lack of blood flow, I guess.
Did I tell you this story? It's a buddy of ours that you'll know who I'm talking about. A buddy of mine, ours that's a comedian that we're always talking about Viagra and Cialis about.
Yeah.
He has the gel.
Yeah.
And it's gel Viagra, and he said he was with a girl, but you're always kind of like, we were just laughing because one time he was with a girl, and we both of us had similar scenarios. But he had one a bit ago where the girl had a pill, and she was like, it was from her ex-boyfriend that left it there, and he was like, oh, I guess you could take it if you want to, and he was like, how would it even like work? He was like, meanwhile he's like, honestly, I wouldn't even need it. Meanwhile, he's already taken two. He's like, she was telling me to take it, and I was like, I've already taken two before I came here. He's a big Cialis guy, but he's got the
gel packs?
the gel, right? And he said it exploded in his wallet, and then he pulled it out, and he was like not really paying attention, so he was kind of like, "Oh fuck this shit!" And the girl was like, "What is that?" And he was like, I don't even know. and then he said, without realizing it, he started trying to salvage it, and he took a big scoop of it and put it in his mouth, and he was just kind of like doing it, not with like paying attention. And the girl just goes, if you don't know what it is, why are you putting it in your mouth? He goes, I literally stuttered like a fucking kid that was caught stealing. I was like, well, I thought that I had the.
I just figured that maybe, you like me and I like you, and just maybe they didn't have
so
sex,
funny.
but then I get nervous.
He goes, this shit exploded on my wall. He goes, what is it? He goes, I don't even know. She goes, why are you scooping into your mouth, man?
I remember taking one of the gel ones actually once. They're pretty good.
The gel ones fucking
my friend
my friend
brought them from India.
Yeah, that's where you have to get them.
Yeah, that's where he brought them from.
Can your friend get more?
It was in Toronto. Maybe.
Yeah, apparently this guy lives in Toronto too. Maybe it's the same friend.
No. They don't know each other.
These ones are also getting shipped in from India.
He went to India. He's from.
And he flew back with a case of the good
from
shit.
India, and he just brought a bunch in the back, and he just gave me a couple of them.
The gel shit moves, dude. It moves the needle, if you know what I'm saying.
It does move the needle.
So, these meathead movers. The Equal Opportunity Commission, they're located in California. They're alleging the company refused to hire workers based on age. And it was like, how can you not have a physical business and say that we can't hire 80-year-olds?
Yeah.
And then the company was saying, like, I mean, listen, if there's an 80-year-old that could do the job of the movers, we would hire them. But it's like, it doesn't or whatever. We mostly hire student athletes. But you're not allowed to have a business that just hires student athletes.
Well, that's, again, like I said with the Hooters thing, where it'd be like some dude and he goes, why can't I work for Hooters? And they're like, well, it's not the thing. And they go, well, it's technically discriminatory. And I'm sure
so stupid, man.
And I'm sure
Afuera!
And I'm sure someone, I don't know how it works though, because do you open yourself up to just constantly being sued forever? Like what stops? Like it's not like
exactly.
It's not like one suit is the end of it. And what do you have to hire? Do you go, okay, we'll hire a bunch of people, or do you not hire them, pay the money, and then what? Just someone comes along and sues you again?
That's a good question.
How has Hooters remained in business? Why isn't Hooters all just trans chicks and dudes?
I don't know.
Fat dudes. And
I think
stuff.
they have some fat girls now. I've seen some pictures of Hooters places where the girls are pretty busted.
Yeah. So
The company's mission is to hire student athletes. Its social media posts show its youthful, muscled employees lifting weights and lifting boxes. The employees dubbed. That's what Arnold Schwarzenegger had back in the day. He had a landscaping business that was all bodybuilders.
Yeah,
so it's like that's illegal now.
I guess, yeah, it's technically discrimination.
That's so stupid.
But it's so funny because you can, all of this stuff is discrimination, but then you can pretty openly just discriminate against white guys, and that's still fine.
Like you preach, Danny. Hey, I'll tell you what. You start a fucking if you host an event and you go hard on that shit, really hard on that shit. 5,000 people show up. You can be a fucking FBI.
Yeah,
that's the kind of plot lines that are going to get you an FBI feature.
Yeah. White guys matter.
The employees, dubbed meatheads, annually face off each other in the Meathead Olympics, racing to assemble and leap over boxes. So it's just like probably a good moving company from what the sounds of it are.
That's probably fine.
It's funny how much they're leaning into the meathead business.
Yeah, whatever. It's branding. I mean, the fact that they have 750 G's to just pay out to like make this go away. I mean,
it does suck though to some degree if you're just like you are an athlete. Like let's say you're on the golf team, but you're in really good shape, and you take a job as a meathead movers. Your buddy gets you a job, and like every 2 days, your boss is like, okay, more meathead photos. You just have to keep doing your meathead photo shoots. If you like,
whatever. You're 20 years old, you probably think it's funny.
Yeah, you might, but I'm saying if you don't.
Yeah, if you don't. Yeah.
So if you're not the type of guy that wants to be in 95 meathead Instagram profile pics.
I wonder how America gets rid of this like litigiousness. It seems like it's such a problem.
I mean, some people might have an answer to that question.
What would you say?
I feel like that answer to that question has been posited a lot recently.
I mean, it's coded into law here, though.
I literally don't know. It's a problem that seems to be never going away. It's only getting worse.
Did I tell you the thing with the Hanukkah movie? Joe the lawyer sent me. I have to watch it.
No.
So there's like Hallmark movies or whatever.
They have some Hanukkah movies. I mean, really, all movies are Hanukkah movies.
Yeah. But they have like where it's like all around Hanukkah or whatever. And there's one. It's called because it was like that Gelt joke that I did or whatever. And then
Gelt?
About how the Jews eat the coins.
Oh, okay.
Whatever. And then he said he basically watched this movie called Hanukkah on Rye. He goes, it's basically You Got Mail just with Jews, and the bookstores are replaced with delis. And he goes, and the thing the two Jewish leads bond over is picking up pennies they find on the ground. I swear I'm not making this up. Is that crazy? I'm like, fuck, I have to watch that.
It was just made by fucking.
It's like a Hallmark movie. Yeah, it's like they think it's funny. Like they don't.
Hitler?
Well, yeah, but it's like one of those things where they're all Jews are like, oh, this is funny. Like probably totally Jewish made production,
and you're just like, stop it.
So you guys aren't helping anything.
That's a good thing for a joke.
Yeah. Pretty funny.
You could do a good joke about that.
Yeah, I gotta watch it.
In one of your comedy bits that you do.
Comedy skit.
One of your little comedy skits, you could probably do something like that. The two sides tried to negotiate a settlement with the agency demanding $15 million, and then they ended up walking away with $750K. So the EOCC, you do not want anything to do with. They could come after us because we said we had no girls on the podcast. That was our shit.
I mean, if some girl wants to sue, I guess. Well, we're not hiring. They could
easily sue. And we probably said it on this podcast a bunch of times too. They could probably have actually cold hard evidence.
But that's the thing. I guess. I think it's if you said you're hiring and then.
Has to be money involved, I think.
Yeah, there has to be
money involved.
Like, but you also have to probably put out a post saying like we're hiring. But I mean, all the talent agents, like the thing with Tyler Fisher, who, if you don't know, a comedian friend who's like suing a manager for anti-white discrimination or whatever. So
how's that going?
I don't know, but if
but if
Meathead Movers is ponying up $750,000, why won't he win?
Some people have won their anti-white discrimination.
Oh, I mean, there's like CEOs or people in like corporate America who won like 10. The one guy won like $10 or $12 million,
right?
Or some chick or something won like a bunch of money.
I feel like I kind of just wish all of this, like you couldn't just sue everyone for everything. I don't love it.
No, it's terrible.
It does. It's also just scary as a guy. You could be like a guy that worked your whole life to, have like you're 60 now and you have let's say $4 million saved up from working really hard your whole life. Maybe you have a house and then, $250 million in your like retirement and everything like that. Sorry, $2 million. Like enough that you're like, I'm going to be good for life and I have a bit of money for my kids or whatever. And then you just get sued and you're bankrupt.
Yeah. And regardless, even if you're like, I didn't do anything, and even if you don't lose, you have to pay the expense. Like that guy, Brian Johnson.
You're in 50K like out of the
game. Did you see the Brian Johnson?
I don't even know who that is.
Brian Johnson's the guy who's trying to make himself young or whatever. He's like always on Twitter. He's the guy who's like some tech dude and he's trying to youngin himself and he like does like switching his blood. You know who he is for sure. He does like his name on Twitter is like Zero something. You 100% know this. He does all this wacky health shit all the time.
I don't know him.
This guy. He looks like Gautier.
Oh, the guy that's trying to make himself younger.
Yeah, that's what I just been saying.
Yeah, I was looking at my phone because I'm going to send you a note. That's why.
Oh, okay. Okay, I was gonna say. Anyways, this dude, he just got sued for like an ex or whatever. Got sued and for like.
By the way, that happens in my household all the time.
Yeah. Okay, I was gonna say that's like literally the thing I was saying. And, yeah, the guy who was trying to make himself younger. I go, yeah. He just some chick,
I get burned on that a lot.
Yeah, some girl, his like ex-fiance or whatever, sued him for right here. He goes, my former fiance threatened to make fabricated and scandalous public accusations about me unless I paid her $9 million in 1 week.
And she probably wrote it down too.
And then he goes, 2 years later, a judge ordered her to pay me $584,200 for fees I spent defending my innocence. And she said that she was going to.
But he didn't make any money. He just got his fees back.
Yeah, but you're also like if
$500,000 he spent.
You have to pony up $500,000. It's like maybe she doesn't have that money. Maybe that's not coming back to you at all. And he's like, I didn't do anything. I was rich. She was trying to like extort me. She said she was going to basically make a tell-all book, just shitting on him and all this stuff, unless he paid her $9 million. And he's like, no. And then he had to go to court. But you're like, probably the bar to actually do that suit is probably so low. So then you just are now defending yourself for 2 years, like going to court all the time, spending $500,000.
You really ruined someone's life.
Yeah, you could just like, it's just a pain in the
I'll tell you what, I don't like it.
No.
That's my take.
No.
Okay, I just wanted to show you a name.
Okay.
But it just got me thinking of something. Then I told you and I was like,
Yeah.
He was, I might have said this to you, but basically it's a comedian and he did a show and there's a girl that was driving him home and then she got home and he goes, you want to fuck a headliner? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
He goes, do you want to fuck a headliner?
Yeah. So probably so awkward. He goes, so you want to fuck a headliner? She's like, no. He's like, not really.
This girl's like not even a known slut or anything either. And she was like, no, I'll probably just drop you off at your parents' house.
Yeah, your parents.
This guy is like, it's one after another of those with this guy too.
This guy's a legend.
He is a legend.
Ledge.
Shit. So this girl says, I was dumped by a Hinge match for being too fat. If you grinded hard, I would marry you. And this basically, I'll just read the guy's message to her, which is actually pretty nice. So I have some things to say. I mostly want to preface by saying how much I've enjoyed you. You're so gorgeous, blah, 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 right? And then at the end of it, he was like, listen, I'm very into fitness and I don't want to... I'm dreading sending this because I truly don't want you out of my life right now, but it's just not the right time. Even with that said, I would love it if you reached out at some point in the future and I could very easily see if you grinded hard for 6 months or a year or whatever it is, I would honestly marry you.
That's what happens when you date a Sigma male,
Yeah.
Get that Sigma male.
My moral of this story is, because, the girl's sort of putting him on blast and stuff like that on the line or whatever, but she's kind of being funny about it. And the moral of the story is not, anything to do with standards or anything like that. The moral of the story is, you think it's the move to tell the truth.
Yeah, you think for sure. Just ghost her like everybody else.
You don't have to ghost her. You make up some other thing. I got back with my ex. I'm sorry. Like, there's a million reasons you could say. That's the best one. If you're like somewhat new in a relationship, you say, listen, I started sort of seeing my ex again and blah, blah, blah. The bottom line is you really, really think that it's a good move to tell the truth and there's some honor in that. There is zero honor in that.
Agreed. Yeah, and you totally. That could have been said better. Like, because women are trying to always say, hey, just be honest, blah blah. And you're like, no,
Never.
You be honest with her. Say something actually pretty thoughtful and nice. And
If you're ever being honest, you fake being honest with your opinions.
of course,
them.
and then she's like,
Unless
okay.
you're looking to fight. If you want to get in a
Yeah.
fight, then be honest.
Yeah.
Which I've been there too.
Sure.
But if you're looking to have, let someone down easily, the way that you do it is not by fighting.
by not actually, yeah.
I mean, maybe there's a part of this guy in his mind that, well, obviously, let's just mention how funny it is that he said if you grind.
Yeah. He's a gym bro, obviously.
Honestly, if you just
I mean,
grind,
he's just like, I'm grinding every day.
why are you not grinding?
Why are you not
I do
grinding?
see that sometimes, though. I don't know if you hear that noise, but it's fucking weird right now. I mean, we're not weird enough that we have to stop, but
Yeah,
the fucking
yeah.
our place might be
Everything's-
haunted, dude.
everything's
The fucking
haunted.
Mamma Mia ghosts have made it into the BOYSCAST studio. We summoned them, said their name in the microphone 3 times fast.
Fucking double XL just showed up.
Yeah. Go like the medium and double XLs. Great stuff. But there is some part of you because that thinks that if you tell them to lose weight, she will be like, you know what? I will lose weight for you.
Yeah.
But the truth is, I feel like to some degree, it's very, very hard to get a girl to make changes that you want them to do. They almost just have to independently want to do it.
Yeah.
Like having a girl that's like overweight and telling her you want to get in shape, from my watching experiences or anything I've ever seen in my life, all points to the fact that it's not possible.
Yeah, and if your problem also is with her now, then you're like, well, even if she starts grinding, are you just waiting it out?
I really don't know what to do, though. I think it is one of the problems. If you're like someone that's in shape and stuff like that, and you start dating someone and they start like putting on a lot of weight and not caring about themselves and stuff like that,
Yeah.
you really are fucked. Because like there's not much you can do, because you can complain about it and get in big fights, and they'll probably go maybe the other way.
Crying
Yeah,
and,
they might even do it more, like out of spite. And especially in today's culture, like you're sort of shit out of luck a little bit.
Yeah.
The only thing you can do is you sort of do things like when they order food, you don't eat it. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
But it's like, it almost just puts you at war, and they're like, well, I'll get fatter to show him. It's like,
Right, yeah, well, she's like, well, I ordered food for 2 people, so I guess I'll eat all of it?
yeah, I honestly don't know if there's that many success stories of a guy being like, my wife was getting fat and I convinced her to get skinny and now she's in really good shape and
Yeah,
hot.
the only way is if you both do it. Like,
Yeah,
if
if
you
anyone,
both do
honestly, I
it.
feel like I usually have an answer to these questions, and I don't have a good one for this one.
Yeah.
If anyone has a success story, message me on the Patreon.
I mean, I've seen, like, you see a lot of them where, like, a couple who's both, like, morbidly obese.
And they together.
They do it together.
So maybe your thing is you have to also get fat, and then you go, we're getting in shape.
Yeah, like you go like Rob McElhenney, where you get fat as a joke, and then
Yeah, a
then you
little
gotta
bit. You
lose
have to
some weight.
decide we're both getting fat, and then we're both getting skinny.
Yeah.
That's the best thing. But then if she might just say no.
yeah.
I mean, it's not even just
I mean,
the
well,
fat
then you do what he did,
propaganda.
and you just go, sorry,
Well, that's
you're
what
not
I'm saying.
grinding enough.
You have to break up with them almost
Yeah.
and just be like, listen, I'm looking for a girl that's on that grind.
Weird though, because this chick didn't really look fat at all.
Well, she's wearing a big baggy sweatshirt.
Oh, okay.
Well, who knows what she was wearing? She might have just been like 15, 20 overweight, but it was
Yeah,
like
but for him,
for a
it
guy
was-
that's a fitness guy can just tell this is a body that doesn't work out or anything like that.
Yeah.
And girls start approaching 30. If they don't do any working out or caring about their thing, it's like that 20 pounds turns into 30 pounds, turns into 40 pounds. I mean, also with guys, but
Yeah, of course.
you know, guys can supplement being fat with being well off
Yep.
to some degree.
Yeah, women.
And you can find girls that are into that fatter body. I guess girls can find like a guy that's into
And guys
fatter
will
body.
also kind of like, will go to the gym, just like work their arms out and stuff, where women don't really.
Yeah, and you start to get
women-
flabby
Yeah,
business, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I think it is a problem that's probably happening more and more. And you know what? I bet you it's leading to a lot of unhappiness, because there's a lot of dudes out there probably dating a woman that put on 40 pounds, and he's just like, I bet you there's a lot of guys just like constantly sort of like walking around like a little bit mad about that, and just
Well-
being like passive aggressive, getting in fights about shit, but really the fight's about the fact that they're not happy that their wife got not hot.
Yeah, especially if it's from kids too, because then you really can't say anything.
Yeah, I'm sure the other version of the way around about that would be like a girl dating a guy that like won't get a job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And she's just like constantly sort of like, annoyed by his lack of motivation or whatever.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Also, they did a really funny one where they had an article where they said men marrying or having children with younger women is a big 2023 trend.
Yeah. Yeah. 2023, 1023.
Yeah.
23.
Just actually 23.
1023 BC.
1023 2 Well, it was also, and there is a possibility it got worse, but one of the reasons for that And it kind of is a bit of how.
I honestly don't think it got worse. If anything, guys were way more likely to go.
Well, no, because here's what
You hear a lot of stories of when this
Tell
stuff
me your
happens.
theory, I'll tell you mine.
Well, when this happens and someone's like, yeah, my dad's like 20 years older than my mom and shit.
Well, the question is not did it happen. The question is the rate. That's what
Yeah,
we're
the
talking
rate.
about, right?
Yeah, the rate.
So that your anecdote, like
I know it's anecdotal, but I just think it was happening a lot. Now you get shamed for it. You didn't get shamed for it before.
Yeah,
there was like a shaming element currently.
Well, that's a good point against
But then
me.
also, you probably it probably was way harder. Like, I wonder, in the 80s, what was a fucking 38-year-old doing, like, meeting a 20-year-old? I guess maybe pick them up at work or something. I guess, I
don't know.
Whereas,
Yeah.
I guess with online dating, you can meet more people.
So that's possible.
Yeah.
So my theory is that in the last, so people, one of the biggest parts of it is the dudes are having kids later.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So the first part of my theory is when you are 30, if you're 25, the lowest you're probably going to go is like 19, right? And that's
Yeah.
even kind of pushing it.
Yeah.
So that's 6 years younger than you, right? Mm-hmm. If you're 40, 29's not that big a deal.
No,
right?
Not at all.
So I think a big part of it is that so guys are having kids later. A lot of that's economy stuff. A lot of that is, that people are taking longer to sort of get into a position where they feel like they should have kids. And I'm not saying everyone, obviously, like people always point this out, but poor people have kids more than rich people.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that those poor people that are having kids, it's like, well, they were marrying people their own age always. So that doesn't change as much, right? Mm-hmm. What changes is in the market of dating or whatever, there was so many dudes that are kind of like in their 30s, and then also the feminism stuff's all popping off. Girls, it was like an undesirable thing. You're like, there's not even really that much benefits, right? You marry some girl, a lot of times, like, it doesn't really make your life that much easier. So it's kind of like a partner. It might make it financially easier, but so guys are just sort of pushing it, right? So then it almost just the generation spread out a little more, where you have guys that are 40 now, ready to, have their life together more, getting married to like 30-year-olds, right?
Yeah.
Which leaves less girls for the 30-year-olds, so they have to wait. They might wait till
they have their
and I think
gap,
it just. So I think it might have be a bit more of that, and a bit. It's probably just because guys are waiting a little longer to like get married and have kids, but the girls can't do that, right? So it just ends up with the guys doing it.
Well,
with
they think
younger
they
girls.
can do that, and then they hit.
Well, those girls probably end up marrying like a lot of times, like the girls that are like 37 or whatever.
Yeah.
Or maybe like a girl that's like 42. I think 37, a lot of those still might pop one out.
Yeah, you can still
But
pop one
girls that are like 45 probably end up, if they go older, they end up going with a guy who's like 60,
yeah.
but his kids are like 18 now.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's like, they date a guy that has kids, but they're like moved out, sort of. So you become like sort of a stepmom to a kid that's already like in college.
Yeah, that makes the most amount of sense.
So I'm just saying, I'm not saying any of these scenarios are like the normal. I'm just saying the number of those scenarios has probably increased, which is causing this.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, there is,
and there's probably more dudes that are just like perpetual bachelor types. Like I'm just like 48. So I still think this is probably less than 150 years ago or 1,000 years ago, where like one 40-year-old dude just like plowed like 10 girls and just have kids with everyone. But I think it might be more than like
probably
20
there
years
are
ago.
more like with the Pacinos and the De Niros of like the 80-year-olds getting with 30-year-olds. Probably that does exist more now, I would think, just based on like healthcare and stuff.
Yeah, that's
like it is pretty crazy.
Although back in the day, though, you probably had like these kings that were 80 that just had like 20 girls on the roster.
That's true.
So when rosters of like wives were a little more acceptable, there was probably a little more of that.
Yeah,
you'd have a one in every age bracket.
It is surprising that you can still fucking have kids when you're 80.
I know, it's kind of weird, eh?
Yeah,
as a dude,
it's
like nothing changed.
Yeah, like Larry King I think Larry King had his last kid when he was.
It does seem a little bit irresponsible.
Well, it depends how much money you have.
No, I mean, like you're basically guaranteeing your kid doesn't have a dad.
Oh, doesn't have a dad. Yeah. That for sure. But I don't know. Maybe this is like a weird way to think about it. But I very much think about it like for these super like high status people who have tons of money, it's very much just like spreading your seed and having as many clones as you as possible, and you're just like, who cares?
Yeah, it's a little.
They're like, who cares about that? They go like, whatever. I just want to keep my name going. I'll be like,
and
my
and
like
the kid's gonna have money, so that's fine.
Yeah, the kid will be taken care of. Honestly, the mom will probably remarry. like if you're
Kid's gonna get a stepdad.
like Al Pacino's scenario or whatever. Like when Al Pacino's gone, that kid's gonna be like 6.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
And a lot of kids don't have dads anyway, but
Yeah,
you're not
whatever.
getting a dad.
You're not getting a dad, but you'll get a stepdad, and your dad will be Al Pacino, and you'll have a bunch of money, and
You could be worse.
way worse.
And then you kind of have 10 years with them or something.
Yeah, that's fine.
But it is like, having your dad die when you're 10 is not the best
What do
thing
you
in the
think
world.
about the whole Shane Dawson? That's been fucking big scandal.
So the Shane Dawson thing is essentially...
There's been several versions of it.
Well,
But
it's been sort of, because you're right. This is a thing that conservatives are very mad about.
Yeah.
Is basically gay guys having kids.
2
And-
gay guys surrogate, so they essentially rent a womb, pay money. The moment the kid's born, the kid's taken from the mother and is raised by 2.
So I think I told you my theory on what my thought. I think we might have talked about this, or maybe it was someone else.
Yeah.
But I'm sort of on the other side of the conservatives on this, and my theory is that I'm like a statistics guy, right?
Yeah.
So whenever people say, "Oh, people that have mothers are better off," I'm like, people that have a single mother are better off than single father. I'm like, well, show me.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, so a part of this is when you say a kid that has like 2 gay dads.
This isn't an adopted kid, though. You're having the kid for the purpose of this.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's maybe the differentiation, because it's not like, hey, the mom was
right. So
died on.
Well, I don't have any like a religious reason
I don't know.
that I'm against that part of it. Like if I don't necessarily see why it's worse to have the surrogate. It's a little weird or whatever.
Yeah.
But this is my thoughts. If you showed me stats where you go, hey, 2 gay guys, and the Shane Dawson thing we'll get to because that's a little different because people are saying he has some questionable behavior that shouldn't have been able to apply or whatever,
Sure.
right? But just in general, I'm talking. If you take 2 gay guys and they find a surrogate to have a kid, right?
Yeah.
Which you can be a single mother and find a surrogate to have a kid, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So if it's not allowed for across the board.
I mean,
But
there's straight families, hetero families who just can't have a kid who do that.
Right. So it's kind of a thing that's it's not specifically gay or not, but in terms of the gay thing, if you could show me, like if you go, hey, look, kids that grew up to 2 gay parents end up like making way less money, their development's worse, they end up more antisocial, more likely to be in jail. You may have an argument that like this is really detrimental to a kid. If you show me and you go, these kids are actually beating the average, which in a lot of cases may be the case because you're generally having 2 wealthy people.
Yeah, it's not 2 poor people.
So you're generally having like 2 wealthy people raised like a kid. And my guess would be, and this is where if I'm wrong on the data, I'm wrong on the data. My guess would be those kids are actually overperforming the average.
I would think so too.
So if that's the case, I don't see a problem.
Yeah.
If you looked at it and you go, these kids are like a disaster on aggregate, I would say that we should stop like doing this.
I agree.
So that's kind of how I see it.
I've seen it a lot.
I don't really have a moral
like
problem.
Dave Rubin did the similar thing. Like where
I mean, I do see like somewhat of a contradiction of being like, maybe I could see you're like, hey, I'm like super Christian conservative, but I'm like about this life. I guess I could see like if your values are I'm super religious, I can also see you being like, hey, like 2 gay guys hiring a woman to like make a baby and then they steal it from her. Like I sort of get it if you believe, but I don't believe. I'm not religious. So I don't really like what would be the thing I'm against exactly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think the only maybe argument, but there's still one, it's not quantifiable about whether, but you'd be like, a child needs a mother, like when they're, but there's lots of kids whose mothers die at birth. And
no, so you are, but there's a difference between an accident and doing it on purpose.
Well, I'm just saying, does it like, you can.
Well, no, but this is the argument to what you're saying, in my opinion, is like, well, can a single mother do this?
Yeah.
Well, it's then the conversation has nothing to do with gay people. The conversation is, can you do this or not?
Yeah.
You can't say you can do it, but gay guys can't.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But if you can say, I guess the argument would be like you have to have a male and a female parent, but it's like, well, we're way past
we're
that.
way past that, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
we're about
you
to have a fucking
time machine,
female and a dog. Okay, that's what's coming up next. So,
but I don't. So this is. Yeah, and the truth is, and this is honestly not even like from a legal standpoint, in most gay relationships, which I know many, you sort of have a guy and a girl.
Of course.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's like the truth is, like, would you have a gay guy and two gay guys in a relationship? 80% of them, one's sort of the dude and one's sort of the chick.
sure.
Same with like lesbian relationships. Like, it really does work like that. So you're right. You don't have a mother, but you have a guy sort of acting like a mother a little
Yeah,
bit.
that's true.
So
Yeah, I agree. I don't have an issue with it. Like, everybody was like, this is sex trafficking and all this stuff. I'm like, I don't know.
sex trafficking.
Like, people are like, not sex trafficking. What is the word? Like,
child trafficking.
kind of. Like, that's what they said. Like,
Well, the problem with Shane Dawson is he made all these like pedophile jokes, right?
Yeah.
And then he did a thing where he was like, oh, I looked at child porn to see how readily for research kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So he did all these things where people are like, this guy's like on record doing this stuff. His side of it is, I'm joking.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like that is like, okay, now you're talking about, I run the place, people are applying, who do we allow to do this, right?
Yeah.
Or do you have to, or are you allowed to just do it?
Yeah, and also what's
the question? What's the answer to that?
I don't know.
Like, is there a procedure? Like, how does it work?
About how to get a surrogate?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Can you just do it?
I think you find them privately. Yeah, I don't think you need like a government approval. It's just like there's probably a private adoption process. You
So
find
I could
someone,
s-
you pay them in private.
I could see them making some laws where they go, you know, you can't have like any, obviously, like you can't do a surrogate if you have any sort of like history of, you know, any like certain crimes.
Sure. I guess the question is like, because obviously everybody's concern with this is that you're going to fuck the kid up. And then you're like, okay, well, at what point are you starting criminalizing like behavior that parents do that fuck their kids up? Which is like, there's a million things. You know, weird religious shit. Like,
Well, I guess their argument then would be like, well, it's their kid. You're allowed to fuck your own kid up. You're not
Right.
allowed to like just buy a kid.
well,
and fuck
you
it
can
up.
have a crazy religious family and adopt a kid and then adopt them into your crazy religious nonsense. That's like,
Yeah.
can fuck them up. I don't know. It's not that cut and dry.
Well, you kind of are adopting this kid, right? Like,
Yeah, you
basically,
are. You
she's
are
having a
adopting
kid and you're adopting it. You
The problem is she had that kid for that purpose of giving it up for adoption, not like getting knocked up when she was 14.
Is it really different? I don't see
really.
like it seems like a semantics argument to me.
Kind of, yeah. It literally is like, because it would be totally fine if she had that, because especially with the conservatives, they don't want that kid, like a 14-year-old to have an abortion.
Yeah, like Dave Rubin and his either like multi-millionaire husband's kid. I bet you that kid turns out fine.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
I know plenty of gay guys. That
I just have seen a lot of this discourse in the last like few days about this, and people.
Well, it's become like the new thing that they're not happy about.
Yeah.
But the only part of it I get is it's like you have people that are like, I'm super Christian conservative, but also I'm for this, and they're just like, are you though?
Yeah.
But so and my take is, yeah, but I'm not saying that.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't see the hypocrisy.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. That's how I see
I don't
it.
have an issue with it.
But the Shane Dawson thing, their argument is more like, this guy's a fucking creep.
Yeah. Which again, it's
You're allowed to be a creep and
yeah.
have a kid, I guess.
Yeah, that's
but if
not
they can
illegal.
prove, like, dude, if you have a kid and they find you, but he's
I mean,
he's
once
like,
if you have a kid and you start committing crimes, then I guess you'll go to jail and they'll take your kids away.
well,
from
yeah,
you.
because
But
that stuff's
the
illegal.
problem is you have to wait for that stuff to happen, and people are like, "Well, he's gonna do it." That's essentially what they're saying is, "Well, he's going to do it, so we have to stop him now." And
I mean, if you hired like a investigator to go just investigate every household, there'd probably be a lot of parents going to jail.
of course, I mean, think about how many times there's some girls getting like stalked, and the cops are like, "Well, we can't do anything until he like threatens you," and then
Yeah.
and then they don't do anything,
And then you have another 3 weeks of
they don't-
Danny fucking
in the
playing ball.
bushes. But then they're like, we can't do anything until he threatens you, and then the guy goes and kills her, and then now they can arrest him. But it took him killing the person. Like they couldn't do, even though they had an idea that it was going to happen. They're like, we can't do anything until he actually does something, and then but them doing something is like murdering you.
You know what the other part is too, that you have to sort of look at this. Obviously, people are kind of have like a fantasy of like going back to 1950, which isn't happening or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you kind of go, if you look at a society and you go, hey, 60% of people are brought up like in a broken home. Like if you go 60% of the country, so it's like if you have like 100 million kids, it's like, or probably you have something more like 60 million kids right now, and or maybe it's 80 million. I don't know what the numbers are, but you go 40 million of those kids, and you go, it's hard to now point a finger at this and be like, it's a
impossible.
problem. You go, it's actually the norm.
Yeah. There's too many.
You know what I mean?
Other variables at that point where you could specifically say like this one thing. I mean, there's no shortage of
Like, yeah, any mother can just go, but I guess then you go, are you allowed to have a kid and sell it? That's the weird. That's like, but yeah, from a semantic standpoint, it does feel weird.
Yeah, I mean, you are. Yeah, I guess they could criminalize.
But the other part is like, well,
But then at that point, they would just, if you're not allowed to have a kid on purpose, and
the guy will just go actually have sex with her.
Yeah, I go, okay, well, I accidentally got pregnant.
Yeah, literally. Like one of the gay guys would just have sex with her and then have the kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Plug his nose.
Yeah, go,
Because that's the difference is the guy, he's technically the dad because it's his sperm.
yeah.
So it's like legitimately he's banging her, but like he's too grossed out to actually bang her.
Really, that's all the only step that.
The only difference is the guy, instead of putting his dick inside of her, they took the sperm out and put it inside of her.
Yeah, that was the only step that got skipped, really. And then I guess the fact that.
And if you made that step illegal, they would just be like, fine. Like the guy would be there and then jerk the guy's dick off until it's hard.
Yeah.
And then he would have like a
There'd be like a
computer.
glory hole or something, and then just swap them out last second.
Do it like a horse.
Like they do a horse, yeah, exactly.
Because they could, if you made any laws about it, they could just they could just beat the laws. Like there are dudes that had a kid with a girl, went gay, and then got the
I'm curious what the obviously there's no gay marriage in tons of like Middle Eastern countries, blah blah blah. But like I wonder if you can what their surrogacy, like if they have surrogacy laws and stuff.
What do you mean?
I just wonder if like more restrictive countries have just specific laws.
Like what does it?
Because obviously there's no gay marriage, so there is no there's no gay marriage, so there's no adopting.
Well then that's your answer to your question.
But I'm saying what are their laws around surrogacy specifically? I guess
like for normal families.
Yeah.
I think that probably in a lot of those countries you have to do it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, you gotta do
You
it
can
the
do it, but like a doctor can't be transporting the sperm. The sperm's got to go from A to B. There's no A to B to C.
Yeah.
Has to go from D to C. Dick to cunt.
Yeah. Nice.
Know what? Tony actually noticed this, but he was like, he was going through all these websites, and he goes, I noticed that the like 8 big websites, he goes, every single one of them had a big article about why like HIV isn't that big of a deal or something. And they were all different. It wasn't just like one of the articles. And he was like, there's a very like noticeable push for
you don't
HIV
watch
right
you don't
now.
watch TV.
Want me to read you 4 of them?
Yeah.
HIV statistics that will alter your perception of the condition. 5 ways you're contributing to HIV stigma. 5 things HIV doctors want everyone to be doing. 7 early warning signs of HIV. But he's like, I've never seen this before, where all of a sudden like randomly from HuffPost and then a bunch of them, he goes, HuffPost just released 9 articles in the last 2 weeks of like pushing like why HIV is not a big deal. Just like why though? Like, you know what I mean? Why is
I don't know, but I've been saying this for over a year, maybe even 2 years now, because you don't watch TV, but anybody who watches this or listens to the show and watches sports knows there's HIV medication ads nonstop. Like fucking like when you're watching
seems weird
Monday Night Football, because you would think that's not the demographic.
Maybe I'm more like RuPaul,
right?
Which, by the way, we know a friend that knows RuPaul and says RuPaul's fucking sick.
Really?
Says RuPaul's based.
Really?
Yeah, like. I mean, RuPaul was always sort of getting in trouble, but apparently RuPaul's always
RuPaul's cool.
Fucking these losers that say all this fucking dumb shit.
Oh, that's cool.
Old gay.
Nice. Yeah, the old gay, exactly. Like Buck Sexton or something. But the like you watch Monday Night Football, doesn't seem like this should be the demographic, unless there's just tons of people who have HIV who are like I don't know, it's way more prevalent than we think.
But I think there was a concerted effort. That's his
yeah.
theory,
But I'm just saying, from just purely, I guess, marketing standpoint, you're like, surely this is not a good ROI
from the football commercials on HIV.
Yeah.
Don't forget,
like
probably
World Series.
Well, this is what you're forgetting. Probably so many of those places are non-profit, so they're just fucking tearing through cash, not worrying about ROI.
No, they're not non-profit. No, these are like pharma companies who are just advertising their medication. Yeah.
Okay. Well, now I'm back on your
The
side.
only thing I can say is, and not to this isn't obviously a racial thing, but very few people in these commercials, it's all men, and very few of them are white.
So you think they're saying like it's people getting HIV not from being gay, from doing drugs or something like that?
I don't know, or if maybe just like in the
being prostitutes,
in
or
the
something?
like POC community or whatever the fuck, they're more likely to just like have it and like not bring it up, like not deal with it. I don't know. I don't actually know what the answer is. I'm just like, and I don't know if that's just, well, that's all commercials are not really white guys or what, but it seems like it's
marketed a specific way.
It seems that way.
You
yeah.
always know. That's another thing I learned when I was watching the commercials. It's so funny how they're marketed. Like it'll just be like one cereal, and I'll just be like, cereal, great for the whole family. And then the other cereal's like, yo, check out this motherfucking cornflakes. It's like so obvious, like who they're trying to speak to.
Yeah.
Yo, y'all know you got to get that payday low. It's like, it's almost like racist to fucking.
I'm trying to find this commercial. I can't find it, but yeah, they're not.
Speaking of race, we got tagged in this a million times, but Illinois school district offers classes separated by race to shrink learning gap.
Nice. Base.
School leaders in this college town just north of Chicago have been battling with a sizable academic achievement gap, and they decided that it might help if they do try something new, segregated classes.
Yeah, they split them up into 2 different classes, quiet and not quiet.
Just all Asians. I'll tell you which one of the classes I'd be in, my friend.
Yeah, I guess the Asian class would be quiet.
You wouldn't find me in the client class if that's what you're trying to fucking say. You got the wrong guy.
The whites go with the Asians, you think?
Some of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. There's plenty of loud whites.
No, I'm saying in this scenario. Like, is this all like Asian kids with like...
I think they
Like, are the Asian kids like, what are we doing here? What is this shit?
That's a good point. Yeah, why do they...
We're not all the same.
Yeah, you're so right.
What are you doing?
But they have new term alerts, the learning gap and the achievement gap. So it's basically just segregation, but here's another. Okay, we've been talking about the trans stuff a little bit, but
yeah,
parents are outraged after, this is a really good one, after a trans-identifying boy wins girls' Irish dancing competition. So basically, it's like a 10-year-old boy and just dominating at doing the Irish jig.
Of course.
Teenage boy identifies a girl as heading to the world championship after placing first out of 100 dancers. Parents of other girls competing in the Irish dancing competition are frustrated and outraged, saying they cannot understand why a boy with physical jigging advantages is allowed to dance against their daughters. This guy's just crushing at doing the...
As they do. Yeah. We're just better.
And another one.
We're just better.
A man whose last name is Bible fatally shot transgender woman who has made him feel suspicious during oral sex. And it's Aaron Berg's...
He's got that Canada.
Well, it's Aaron Berg's joke. He was like, a lot of them are getting killed. He was like, stop tricking black guys.
Yeah.
But Minneapolis man, he's facing murder. But the just funny, like obviously that's not good that happened. But there's the thing is wild because it's his language when he's talking to the police. He goes, it made him feel suspicious. So he was getting head. He met this girl at a bus stop.
Okay.
The girl goes, hey, do you want to come around the corner? I'll suck your dick. And then when he was getting his dick sucked for free around the corner from this chick, he was just like, wait a second.
Wait a minute. Something's off.
It just doesn't feel right. So anyways, this guy pulled his gun out and then...
That's crazy. I imagine...
But I think that...
I imagine it wasn't for free. I imagine that was like she propositioned him for money.
He said, well, that's not part of the story.
Well, he's probably like, nah, I never pay for that shit. I only get that shit for free.
You think that this guy was after the fact being like, well... Okay, well then that dispels my theory. But if a girl offers you free head on the bus shelter and you just go around back and you're getting the head, I think that's a bit of a red flag.
Mouth to mouth, Never look a gift horse in the mouth.
That's wild, though. Bible told cops he felt suspicious during the sex act and continued to feel that way until it was done. So he felt suspicious.
This is sus. Oh, dog, this is sus.
This one's bad. It's a bad one to laugh at. Yeah. This one feels sus.
This is sus.
There's 8 minutes in. I'm still feeling pretty sus. Jesus.
That sucks.
He was confessed to his parents. He knew he wasn't God, but he had to do it. So he's trying to say that God, he said God made him do it.
And his last name's Bible?
So said God made him say, after you finish, he goes, well, obviously finish what you're doing, but after that, I've got a mission for you.
God's like, ain't no cock block. Let's wrap it up. And then I gotta tell you something.
Yeah. So he says God sort of sent him to do it, but If it seems too good to be true, fellas,
Guys, come on.
I don't think that's happened to too many guys that you're just walking by and a hot girl offers you head.
Yeah,
I don't know what this girl looked like.
probably not hot.
Number of non-binary identifying students spikes by 57% in the West Coast.
Yep, that's about right.
In California stores, I just got a little pack of these right here.
Yeah.
In California, stores with gender-neutral toy sections will be fined under the new law.
Telling you, gender doesn't exist. We got to make this.
Okay,
happen.
well, are you allowed to say they can't? I don't think they'd let you say you have sex
Neutral.
No, but you wouldn't be able to saying we have male and female. No, they're not segregated by gender and they're segregated by sex. I think this is where your theory falls apart because because in your theory you'd be like, well, they're not segregated by gender, they're segregated by sex, and they go, okay, it's not allowed to do that either.
No, that's true. Yeah.
You know what I mean? They would just do all the same bullshit by that.
Yeah. I think you just
what's
get
even
rid
the
of,
fucking point?
I think
of
the
that?
thing is you just get rid of all the fucking nonsense stuff because sex is like you can't say I'm like non-binary.
Basically, you can't say a Transformers the guy section. You have to say it's the trans section.
Yeah. No, we just be like the toys section.
Well, yeah, but I mean, literally, it's just making everyone a little more inconvenient.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah, business.
It's like when you walk into a toy store, you have to it's a little harder to find what you're looking for because you're just like, you want a baseball glove, you have to be like, what section? And they have to say it's, as opposed to just being like, where's the boys section?
Yeah, that's true.
So you got to walk through both sections to basically find what you want. They just made everything a little bit inconvenient, but you get fined up to $250, which isn't that crazy, but $500 each pop if you don't change it.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. Who's enforcing it? I guess the same.
Well, it's just crazy to go to all this shit where you go to like a store and basically say, hey, you have to spend money to like remodel, like and redesign your store.
Yeah.
Just for like, we can feel better about our bullshit. It's just like always annoying.
Yeah.
Afuera to this
Although
industry.
it is similar
The
to
gender neutral toy department, definitely I'd afuera that.
This is there's I think a term for this, the tyranny of the minority. But see, it's crazy because it's not that different though. Not that anybody's, I guess, forced. I guess the difference between nobody's forced to do kosher food, but like kosher food is this weird thing where it's barely anybody actually eats kosher, but then like everything has to be kosher.
Not by law, though.
Not by law. That's what I was saying.
Listen, I don't give a shit if any companies want to lobby the toy companies. I mean, maybe I can give a shit, but I'm not like I'm not
or like Toys R Us.
against it
to
happening
make
from
sections.
a fucking philosophical standpoint. I could still. It's that's the thing where it's like I could still be against something, but I don't think it should be illegal. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I don't think that.
Kosher.
Like, okay, put it this way: if you said if I don't make your thing kosher, I have to put a fine on it. Well, then I'm against it.
Yeah.
But you are right. That's always an interesting thing to bring up. You go look at a can of Coke and you see a little K in the corner, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But it's not just Jews; it's Muslims too.
But
that's
halal's different though. But I think they do. I think they do. Some kosher stuff is fine for halal.
So, what are some big things that have kosher that you wouldn't realize?
Just like tons. I don't know, tons of shit. Like if you just go look at labels.
And how do they make that happen?
It's like a rabbi literally goes and just like blesses a factory, and they go inspect it to make sure like it's.
What a good job!
Oh, it's an amazing gig.
You're a rabbi and you just go bless the factory.
Yeah, it's like a rabbi.
Well, how did they get the companies to agree to that?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know because again,
was it like a rabbi mafia
here's the
industry?
thing.
Like it would be a shame if something were to happen to you?
I think what we say there's 16. No, how many Jews are in America?
I think it's about 15, 16 million.
In the world, no, not in America.
In the world, I thought it was 30, no?
No, it's 16 in the world. I think
so. It's 7 and
2% of, I think it's 7 million, say 8 million. So in America, there's 8 million Jews. It's not even, I guarantee you, it's not even a million of them keeping kosher. Maybe it's a million of them. So it's like, it's not even the majority of Jews.
So how did they convince the cola places to do this?
I don't know. Well, Pepsi doesn't. Coke does. I don't know.
Is the CEO of Coke Jewish?
I don't think so. They're like basically.
Maybe I'll tell you what might happen. Huge investor was like, "Hey, I'm going to invest a ton of money into this, but I just have one tiny request.
Yeah,
every once a month, our rabbi wants to come bless the stuff, and you're like, yeah, sure, that doesn't.
It's an added cost, though. It's a real added cost. Like, because,
why is it a big added cost other than putting?
Because there's ways that you can make, if certain products come in contact with like the manufacturing facility, it becomes not kosher.
Okay, well, let's get to the bottom of this. How did they make that happen?
Yeah.
Because you are right, that is wild.
Yeah.
I don't think it should be illegal, like the same way this toy thing. I feel like I don't think it should be illegal, But you are right. What an influence.
Yeah, like just if you Google it really quickly, it says to document its compliance with kosher requirements, Coke collected affidavits certifying that the glycerin used in special batches of Coke syrup came from cottonseed oil.
Being the rabbi on that's fucking
With
sick,
this
though.
evidence in hand, Geffen issued a teshuva ruling in 1935 that the reformulated Coke did indeed. So they had to reformulate the Coke to make it in 1935.
They made them reformulate Coke?
They had to, yeah, but the question is, why would Coke want that?
Yeah, but why did they agree to that?
Because it's not big on, like, it's not really changing their
How
sales.
Coke became kosher.
Yeah, it's not like changing their sales.
In the early 1930s, are you looking at the same thing? An Orthodox rabbi began to receive a steady stream of letters from rabbis saying that Coke was not kosher. Coke was a popular beverage among Jews, and rabbis were worried since Coca-Cola was headquartered in Atlanta, where Geffen lived. He was essentially deputized by other rabbis to investigate. Rabbis deputize each other?
Swear them in.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Rabbi Geffen did indeed discover a problem, a non-kosher ingredient. Okay, but this isn't telling me how, like, how did they use the influence?
Like, so what? Just some rabbis were like, we'd like to drink Coke, but it's not kosher. And then this rabbi's like, on it. And then he just shows up. Like, imagine if you're a giant company and someone shows up, be like, you need to change your formula. And they're like,
Controversy erupted again in the 1950s when rabbis discovered the vegetable oil derived glycerin used to make kosher Coke traveled through the same piping system as the non-binary kosher
that's what I'm
glycerin.
saying. So it's like if it touches anything, then they're like, the whole batch is spoiled.
These guys look like a real hassle, these two rabbis,
yeah,
eh?
those are pain in the ass.
Those guys look like a pain in the fucking ass, and they started investigating the pipes and they found other. So why do they do this though? Because Pepsi doesn't do it, and no one. They seem to be fine.
Yeah, like that was when I was in Jewish school.
But it's not. All of these articles are about how it happened. No one's explaining why Coke agreed to it.
Yeah, I don't know, because again, they didn't sell way more Coke. That's for sure. Didn't give them some huge boost.
Why did Coke agree to be kosher? They don't want you to know that information.
Well, that's why. And why?
It says here, Procter & Gamble was well aware of its use by observant Jewish customers. So, but they're
Fine, but that's not like, that's not moving the needle for sales.
These articles are sort of pitching that it did a little bit, but it doesn't make sense. Well, the bottom line is if they want something, they can make it happen. It's a powerful lobby, right?
Yes, sir. Like the trans.
Well, but again, just to reiterate my last point, that is wild, but if the government started saying we're fining you for not kosher,
for sure.
I would now have a problem.
Then that's crazy. Yeah, agreed.
But that is crazy, dude. There's a lot of weird things like that. But Danny's heading back to Toronto right now.
Yep.
And
flight tonight.
all right, so what you going Porter?
No, we're flying Delta.
Delta's the shit, dude.
Yeah,
It's
Delta's
the best flight.
Yeah, Delta's. I like JetBlue. Although the last JetBlue flight I took was shit. But other than that, I like.
What happened?
It was just a really old plane. They just like stuck us on some fucking super old plane.
Have your people fucking deal with that shit, dude. Peace.
Later.